Hello and welcome to the In the Money Players Podcast in the Money Media YouTube channel. PTF coming to you live from the yurt. We're here at the campground in El Capitan in California. You don't have to go to Mongolia anymore, folks, to sleep in a yurt at night. And it was lovely, having a great time here. But of course, you know, it's one of those things. Horse players can relate to this. I'm sure you're on a family vacation, but it's Saratoga. There's stuff going on. And you got to sneak away from the campfire for a little bit to look at form. And that's what I've been doing out here. And I'm excited because we've got some really cool racing coming up this weekend. On this show, we're going to be looking down another place you can camp, I think, the Jersey Shore, to look at racing from Monmouth. And to do that, we bring in a man also coming to you not from his usual broadcast location, but from Saratoga Springs. He's Jonathon Kinchen. JK, what's up? How's the meet going?
It's going all right. Except for yesterday. Today's Friday. Except for yesterday. Got to work a little bit late, was running around, got on set, fell in love with a horse in the last. I thought that, of Chad Brown's that I thought, this horse had been running against West End Kid, and here's Johnny, both stakes winners. And so I thought, hey, this is a nice opportunity here. And then I ended up going to the paddock bar after work and got to celebrate with George Weaver and Reagan Swinbank and Doogie and both Fazone brothers, because everyone else knew that George loved his horse that went off at 27-1.
You were not part of that party? Is that what you're telling me?
I was part of the after party. I was part of the after party, but not the before party. Yeah.
Well, with so many races, so much time between races at Saratoga, Monmouth, for me, a signal I'm always looking at in the summertime. No exception on this Saturday. We're going to roll through the last 5 races with you. We start off with race number 4, the 5th to last race, where we kick off this 50-cent pick 5. We've got 3-year-old and up fillies and mares claimers going 5.5 on the turf. And there's an angle in here, JK, that I talk about often on these shows that I'll just 6 gold stamp. This is my turf improver angle for this 4-year-old filly. Got on the new surface, ran her best race to date, had run well on the turf previously as well, and then spent several races on the dirt. Back on the best surface now, on the right kind of trajectory. I'm going with gold stamp to kick things off. How do you want to like this, Campbell?
Yeah, look, I won't bore everyone with this, even though I'm sure people are going to want to know more about it. But one of the things I've been doing is I've taken some of my things that I do intuitively, things that I would do manually, and try to turn them into a little bit more of an automated situation where I don't have to do it. Where basically I'm a turf sprint guy who likes horses that are forward. Some of the work that I've done has shown me that closers in turf sprints that are favorites win 12% of the time, right? Which I think is a shocking number.
It really is. It's supposed to be 33%. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I've started kind of mixing the performances together, the race performance together, with the final figure and the pace figure that earned that final figure. And for me, the 2 Tap Rixie has 2 races, 2 turf sprints that are better than anything else in here has ever run. So I'll get started with a single here, and I'll single the 4-1 shot, the 2 Tap Rixie.
All right, I'm intrigued. I liked and looked at long and hard, and I will include as a B on your say-so. I was concerned about the finish, but your point may be exactly right in that the finish in the turf sprint probably matters less than any other race, based on the idea of those favorites who are closers performing so poorly. We'll try to get out 6 and 2, just a 2 for JK as we kick off this Saturday late pick 5, which continues with a maiden claiming event, 3 and up fillies and mares, $12,000 level. They're going 6. And JK, my opinion in here is real boring. Let's see if you corroborate it or bring in something else. I just thought that in this spot, the 5 runner Seeking Serenity looked like going to be very tough to beat. Best form in figures, and looking at pace figures in this race, I thought you could make a case might be loose. Are you with or against the favorite here in Monmouth's 5th race?
I did this recently, a double single to start a sequence. It's nerve-wracking, but if you can get to the other side of it, you can get a lot of coverage the rest of the way. This is a double single for me. Some of these other horses have okay numbers. I guess By My Dreams has a number way back in August that Ellis that is kind of in the mix. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm taking the 5 here, double single.
And as I know what you mean about it's nerve wracking if you're spending a lot of money and it's single, but like from a pure playing point of view, I think it makes a ton of sense because a lot of people play it, to my mind, exactly wrong. They want to be alive. They overspread in these first legs. And of course, if you do blow up in either of the first two legs, you come back and play the next pick that comes along. So I think strategically, you're kind of winning a lot of ways if you can be that skinny early. Would you agree with that?
So I'll tell you two things about that. And I know a lot of times people come to hear picks and stuff, but I think sometimes the theory stuff we get into is even better. I think that I know that it sounds crazy, but I think the ability or the even trying to find a single or to be skinny in the first leg, because you said you can always come back in the pick 4. And look, it can just work as a de facto B ticket to a certain extent by using that pick 4 as an option. It's an all-encompassing play. Dealing with the sequence. The other move that I'm trying to get better at is to be skinny in the last, in a way in which, let's just say that there's 5 horses that you like in the last. Let's just say that there's 5 horses you like, 2 of them that you love, and 3 of them that you're just going to use because you feel like you need to use them. If for whatever reason, if you get alive to that last race and it's been favorite, I know this sounds weird, but you don't really want any of those 5. All 5 of them are disappointing. So what I've tried to wrap my brain around is let me get alive to the 2 horses that I love. And then when I get alive to them, if it's something that I like, I'm alive for a score, a mini score, then you can protect yourself with those other 3 horses because now you want to be alive in that last leg. And if you don't want to be alive, you'll be happy that you didn't spend the extra money on those extra 3 horses in the last because it wasn't a sequence that was going to be nice to you anyways. So I've tried to get better about that. And it's just, I think that there's something to playing them like that.
Building leverage is what you're talking about, and it's worthy of its whole own podcast. I have a whole tangent, but I'm not going to go on it now because we got so many more races to do. But I'm glad you brought that up. That'll be a discussion on a future show. We can do something. Some of these weeks, not this time of year, but sometimes we have these quiet weeks, and an advanced horizontal leverage strategy conversation could be a whole podcast then, and that's what we'll do. All right. For now, though, we're going to get to the hinge of the late pick 5 at Monmouth on Saturday. We've got the 3-year-olds running in the My Frenchman Stakes. We're going 5.5, the flying 5.5 on the Monmouth turf here. Old friend, you mentioned black type thoroughbreds. They've got Azizam in here. This is a horse I followed since Ascot last year, and a horse that I actually thought ran okay last time, given that it was farther than I think this runner wants to go, cutting back to what he actually wants to do. I want to keep Azizam on side, but I also wanted to make sure to do something with the 4-runner, My Boy Star, who I thought had some nice pace figures. And, our old friend Buchero, JK, who, or Buchero, I should say, who has done so well with the turf sprint. What do you think?
You froze up a little bit, but I know you asked me what I think. So look, I'm not going to I wasted time on my tangent about ticket construction. This is a spread race for me. I'm going to use 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. There's a couple of horses in here that are making turf sprint not debuts, but getting back turf sprinting. Those horses obviously concern me. Azizam, I want to make sure I have. And then the others, I'm just going to spread in here, and my double single to start the sequence has given me the privilege of doing so.
Let's talk about race number 7. It's a maiden claimer going a mile for runners 3 and up. I thought that Soul Loot looked pretty interesting. Good blend of speed and stamina on his best races. And then first time gelding as well. That's one of those angles I don't necessarily love. I'm definitely going to bet the first time gelding. But when it's a horse that especially has back lines and maybe I have some questions about the recent lines, I want to leave a horse like this open. And in this case, I'm going to just go ahead and make the 4 my pick in race number 7. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2, 4, 5, 6. Look, I mean, I think that people pay attention enough to know that Chad sends down horses at Monmouth to win races. He's got the ability to do that. I've seen Chad on the phone, with his assistant at Monmouth, and Chad touches every single horse every single day with his assistant, how they galloped, how they walked, how they worked, how they jogged, how they everything. And in just the same fashion he does with the horses that he has with him in New York. I think evenly alert could just be better than these. You'll never really know until they cross the wire. But 2, 4, 5, 6 for me are the ones I'll use. The trainer change on the 6 I thought was interesting. Kelly Breen obviously wins at a high percentage. I think 29% so far for the meet. And so moving to his barn's never a problem, especially for a horse that took money the first 2 starts. And then Kelly comes in and claims for 40. If I had to pick one, I would pick the 6, but I'm gonna spread a little bit in here.
Kelly Breen, perhaps the only man in horse racing with a better hat game than me, and
Allegedly.
does win races in bunches down there. Let's get to the nightcap. We've got Jersey bred fillies and mares going a mile on the turf. And this was a race where I was just envisioning how it was going to be run in my head and was really liking number 7, Easy World. This was a runner that I just thought got caught in a bit of a tricky chasing position last time in a race with a slow pace that flowed to the front. I thought that took her just a little bit out of her game, still ran with credit. I think this time around, pace a little bit more even, might be able to just stalk runners like the 4, perhaps the 8, and just get a really good trip and run just that little bit much better to get to the wire first. It's the 7, Easy World for me to close it out at Monmouth. But JK, will ask you the key question when it comes to all these late picks at Monmouth on Saturday. How are we going to get paid?
Yeah, I mean, I preached about it. I'm just going to use the 6 and the 7 here for a lot of the same reasons that you did. The 7 blinkers on, adding Lasix, I think is also good. One of the other things I've automated for a very long time, I've put in this, I made an Excel sheet a long time ago where I would put in a bunch of turf pace figures and a bunch of final figures from Timeform US and Andy Byers number. I don't know why I had to use Andy Byers number. Why didn't I just say Byers number, the Buyer figure? Yeah. And I would put that into this thing, and it would take me like 15 minutes a race. But now I've automated where it produces that kind of Mike Maloney book performance type of number for me based on all those things that happened. So it feels like I'm cheating almost now because like I don't have to do all of that. It does it for me. And the 6 and the 7 are big standouts on those 2 numbers. So I'd love to be alive to those 2 horses. If it's a ticket, I'm going to maybe start to kind of try to coin this phrase. If it's a pick 5 I want, I might protect with the 1, 9, and the 8 afterwards. If I get alive and the 1, 9, and the 8 are dangerous, and maybe I can save a little bit with those horses. If it's one I don't want, I'll hold my nose and root for the 6 and the 7.
Ability figures, Mike calls them, and I do love this idea. No, you were close. I do love this idea of, you haven't said the letters AI, but I mean, clearly that's what you're talking about, trying to find some smart ways to use technology to do these things that we used to have to do completely by hand. It doesn't replace studying the form and doing the work, but it makes it a lot easier to make some of these calculations that used to take players. I mean, God, you think back to the Tom Brohammer modern pace handicapping days, JK, it would take 4 hours to do a card with all the rote calculations that had to be made. Yeah. Now you can offload that to the computer. Speaking of topics that deserve a whole other show.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like, just to give an example of some little things you can do out there that like simple things is like, I have it look for, in Timeform US and the pace projector, it says favors horses on or near the lead.
Yep.
Just tell me when that exists and the horse who's projected to be on the front has the best last figure. Just let me know. And I can build around that idea, right? That horse is going to run well. He's going to either hit the board. He's going to, you build off of that. You can have it. It's just, it doesn't have to be some crazy over the top thing. Just keep it simple.
All right, great stuff. Couple of quick notes. Subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Let us know your best bet at Monmouth on Saturday, or comment on any of these tangents we've gone on. We want to hear from you. Make sure you do that. Also, big programming note, special Monday racing. I'm so happy to have Monday racing back in the summer. All us old Saratoga and going back even farther, Del Mar fans missed the Monday racing. Well, Gulfstream Park filling the void, and there are some great player-friendly wagers too. On Monday, we're going to have a whole other show about it. We're going to be covering it on the In the Money Media Twitter feed as well. And check out a show. We'll have another show. It's probably by the time, shortly after this show goes up, the Monday Gulfstream show will go up. Check that out because I'm really excited for the return of Monday racing. But thank you so much to our friends at Monmouth and to JK. PTF signing off from the yurt. May you win all your photos.